In much of the world, chances are high that your first smartphone was a Samsung. We associate the brand with sleek screens and high-speed circuitry, but they didn't start in a clean room. They started by selling dried fish and noodles. In 1938, during the period of Japanese annexation, a young man from a wealthy landowning family named Lee Byung-chul opened a regional grocery business. He called it Samsung Trading Company, a name that translates to 3 stars. As World War II began, home markets in Korea and Japan slashed their spending on luxury items. Lee capitalized on this economic shift, exporting massive quantities of everyday essentials like food and care products to China and its provinces, turning a profit while global trade was fracturing. From the start, Samsung had zero attachment to any specific industry. The corporate DNA was built on finding a profitable vacuum during a period of intense global disruption and filling it. That adaptability was tested when the Korean War broke out in 1950. Forced to flee the capital as the Korean People's Army advanced, Lee relocated his operations south to the city of Busan to survive. To help a war-torn Korea industrialize, he expanded out of groceries. Lee established a sugar refinery, followed quickly by a wool and textile plant, diversifying the Samsung brand into heavy manufacturing. This illustrates a deliberate state strategy called the chaebol structure. Following the war, the South Korean government wanted rapid economic growth. They placed family-owned domestic conglomerates under an umbrella of protectionist policies, shielding them from foreign competition while facilitating easy financing. Operating within that protected vacuum, Samsung rapidly expanded its reach. In the late 1950s, the company bought up 3 of Korea's largest commercial banks, along with an insurance provider, a cement manufacturer, and a fertilizer plant. By locking out external rivals, the state allowed Lee to turn a regional grocery outfit into a highly diversified domestic empire. In 1969, Samsung debuted multiple divisions dedicated to electronics. They formed a partnership with Sanyo and began churning out massive quantities of black and white televisions for the domestic market, which proved popular. The founder passed away in 1987, handing control of the empire to his 3rd son, Lee Kun-hee. Under his leadership, the company set its sights on a new, complex sector, mobile telecommunications. It was a difficult market to enter. In the late 80s, Motorola controlled 60% of the Korean mobile phone market. Samsung managed to scrape together a 10% hold. Samsung's initial mobile hardware was infamous for its terrible reception and frequent breakdowns. The quality was poor enough that upper management held formal meetings to discuss pulling out of the cell phone business. Mass manufacturing had built the Samsung empire, but pure volume was no longer enough. Competing on a global stage required a change in corporate identity centered on strict quality control and research. In 1995, Lee Kun-hee made a calculation. He ordered the company to abandon the production of low-end consumer goods, choosing instead to bet their future capital on high-tech innovation. That research focus eventually culminated in the 2010 launch of the original Samsung Galaxy S. Outfitted with a Super AMOLED display, it hit the market with success, immediately challenging the dominant players in the smartphone wars. Samsung applied its manufacturing might to this sector, releasing dozens of distinct models in rapid succession. They pushed out new physical features and system upgrades faster than any single competitor. In 2014, they released the Galaxy Note Edge. It served as a publicized proof of concept for curved screen technology, a design choice that defined their flagship hardware for years. They pushed that hardware experimentation further into complex architectures, engineering the mechanical hinges and flexible displays required for the modern Z Fold and Z Flip series. This transition eventually pushed Samsung past Sony, taking its place as the 20th largest consumer company in the world. Their willingness to abandon low-end manufacturing for high-risk research made that shift possible. Today, the conglomerate is guided by Lee Jae-young, but managing an empire of this scale has exposed legal vulnerabilities in the traditional family-run corporate structure. In an attempt to bypass legally mandated succession taxes, Lee faced government scrutiny. Following multiple indictments and court battles, he issued a public apology and declared he would not pass management rights to his children. This bar chart illustrates a separate technical scandal. South Korean tech forums discovered that Samsung's game-optimizing service was silently throttling the performance of over 10,000 standard apps by 56%, while allowing benchmarking apps to run at maximum power. The practice generated immediate backlash. Major diagnostic websites delisted Samsung's newest flagship phones, forcing the CEO into a public apology at their annual shareholders meeting. Samsung's biggest modern threat isn't hardware competition from foreign tech giants. Their greatest vulnerability is internal corporate governance and the erosion of consumer trust. Despite these public relations crises, Samsung is again using its massive capital reserves to acquire its way into the next technological frontier. They have outlined a $22 billion investment initiative, explicitly targeting 5G, robotics, and the integration of artificial intelligence into their upcoming devices. To pull this off, they are returning to mergers and acquisitions, seeking to absorb startups, consolidate emerging tech, and dominate the underlying semiconductor market required to power AI models. From trading dried fish to bending glass and training AI, the company's survival depends on a ruthless ability to adapt to crises and monopolize new markets.